What is up? Let me turn the speaker off. What is up? What is up? Complete athletes. Coach Ronnie here. I am at the facility and I got left just finished work on a client. Got to turn that speaker off so there's no distractions and we can sit here and get after it. Get after it. And get after it. All right. So, hope you guys had a tremendous weekend. Um, I was here a little bit, met with my guys, my Zoom call Sunday guys. Had a great discussion with them, my mindset group. What else? What else I have going on? That's pretty much it. Did a little training, met with those guys. Um, Mother's Day's coming up soon. I'm gonna be heading home. Richmond, VA. Shout out to Richmond, VA. Shout out to Midlothian, VA. If you're here, gonna be heading your way. And shoot, that's about it. We had the draft. You know, Dion's son going in the fifth round. That was controversial, right? Um, you know, I'm getting a bunch of messages right now, but that's about it to sum it all up. Now let's get to business. A lot of you guys have kids that are about to enter the collegiate athletics realm, and physically prepared, you know, or familiar with about to happen. They're probably familiar with the weight room and things of that nature. Um, but at the same time, there's a mental aspect to making that transition, right? So we want to talk about that. We want to talk about the physical and the mental and everything else between today. So let's dive right in. All right. So, most athletes are not ready for the real demands of college sports. Today, you'll learn how to fix that. College sports demand full commitment. We're talking physically, mentally, nutritionally, and emotionally. If you want other athletes, if you want your athletes ready to compete and not just survive, it starts right now. It starts today. All right. As I said the last couple of lives, we have a bunch of new people in the group. Thank you for joining this journey, this mindset collegiate, this complete athlete mindset and performance journey. Thank you for your time and being part of this community. All right. And just in case you don't know who I am, my name is Coach Ronnie. I'm a former Ronnie Kenyatta. I'm a formerly professional baseball strength conditioning coach. I did that within the Mets organization for 12 years, and that's why I help athletes get stronger, faster, and minimize injuries. And today I'm going to do the same with you and your athletes, but also we're going to add a mental twist or a mental aspect, a mindset aspect to your athletes' athletic development. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. What are we talking about? We're talking about college athletes and preparing your athlete for what's to come. That's the topic today. And the thing that stands out for me right from day one is the schedule. You know, in the high school realm, in travel sports, yes, your day is packed, your day is full, but are you getting up, 5 o'clock in the morning on a regular basis? I don't think so, right? That's something they're gonna have to get used to, and getting home at what, 10 o'clock at night, right? Those are the type of schedules they're dealing with. I'm gonna break one down for you. Sample schedule I came across. 5:30 in the morning. You're at the weight. You're already at the weight room. You're not getting up. You're at the weight room for morning lifts. 5:30 you're there. 7 o'clock you eat your breakfast. Prep for class. 8 to 12 o'clock you have your classes. 12 to 1 you have film sessions or position meetings. 1 to 4 you practice. 4 to 6 recovery, cold tub trainers, whatever it is, treatment, right? Or recovery, yes. Then you have 6 to 9 study hall homework. Then 10 o'clock, hopefully you get a little sleep. That's your schedule as a college athlete. All right. So yes, we have full schedules as high school athletes, but it's not like this. Right. So how do we prepare for this? All right. So that's what we're gonna go dive into. A little stat for you. NCAA studies show athletes spend 32 to 40 hours per week on sports alone. On sports alone, a full-time job just on the sports, on top of full academic loads. All right. So, so how do you adjust? How do you adapt? How do you make that happen, right? Well, I do it with my athletes right now. We have a couple seniors that are transitioning from high school to college. I told them straight up, one day I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna snatch your soul. Meaning, I'm gonna load up that sled. You're gonna push that thing, you and the sled for half an hour, 45 minutes. You figure it out. Come up here and get me when you're done. All right? Because we're gonna get into the mental preps later, but I want these athletes mentally prepared for whatever that's thrown at them. So when it's thrown at them, it's another day at the office. Automatically, they stand out and they're respected. All right. So that's what we want to do. Start mimicking what's going to take place in college right now. I do it from a performance perspective. Get your athletes to get used to waking up at 5 in the morning, doing some type of morning routine. My athletes, they have a morning routine. When I say my athletes, I mean my mindset athletes. My mindset athletes that are doing the complete athlete program, the integrated athletic enhancement program, they have a morning routine. All right. But these rising college athletes, they have to get up early, mimic what's going to take place, practice what's going to take place, so you can perform when it comes time when you get to college. All right. So it's just another habit, something you've always done. No culture shock, none of that stuff. It's just business. All right. What else do we have to say? Start practicing full schedule day now. Even in high school or travel, mimic the package, mimic the pack schedule. This builds stamina for the real college life. Of course, physical stamina, but also the mental stamina. All right. Now, a lot of, especially in the travel world, fuel or food is something you take for granted. You'll go to the concessions, you'll grab whatever tastes good. You might get a burger, cheeseburger. You might get yourself a Sprite. You might get yourself some chips and think you're winning. No, you're not winning. You're just filling the fuel tank up with 78, not 93, not 89, 78. All right. So when you get towards the end of the tournament and you're lightheaded, you can't focus. That's because you have poor quality fuel in the tank. That has to change at the college level. A lot of time, all you have to do is show up. If you're, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's colleges where you can just show up and nutrition is taking care for you, right? So that's obviously in a blessed, very, very great situation, right? But it's not going to be like that at all colleges. One of my college guys, he's um, he's at a school here in Georgia, and they're on their own. They're showing up like travel ball. They're showing up with bags of Chick-fil-A and Wendy's and all this garbage, right? So yes, you can be in that UGA. I'm in Georgia, like I said, UGA from Virginia, UVA situation, right? Or you can just be at a D2, D3, or a small school just trying to figure it out, all right? So, how do we deal with that when we don't have the big UGAs or the UVAs of the world? How do we deal with that? You know, at the college level, nutrition is fuel. Like I said, it's not an option. Athletes must focus on eating every 3 to 4 hours, not just 3 meals a day. That's gone. We're going back to fuel, not just 3 days, 3 meals a day. That mindset is out the window. All right. Prioritizing carbs for energy. That's your fuel again. Before training for energy, and prioritizing protein afterwards for your recovery. So that might be, some type of carb, some type of sports drink, right? And or some type of, I'm talking about for your blood sugar right there, but some type of carb, maybe some pasta, some brown pasta, some brown rice, something like that, a sweet potato. Get that in you the night before, ideally, right? Before training, right? And then you're able to get after it, right? So we're talking about, so in the morning we might be talking about some oatmeal. All right, something like oatmeal, that'd be good. Some oats, something like that would be good for you in the morning. A piece of fruit would be good for you, and then you want to get a little protein in there in the morning as well. But like I said, it's all about priority, right? In the morning we gotta get those carbs going, and afterwards you gotta hit that protein for recovery to repair the muscle. All right. Hydration, we know we have to stay hydrated, right? We know we have to stay hydrated. You're drinking water throughout the day, folks. You can get some electrolytes in there. That's great as well. Drinking water throughout the day, all right? Now, here's a stat on structured nutrition. Structured nutrition reduces injury risk by 20% and improves recovery time by up to 30%. All right, it's from the Journal of Sports Nutrition. So keep that in mind. We have that structure, and it makes sense. Going back to what I said about the small schools, you're crushing Chick-fil-A, you're crushing Wendy's, and again, you're sluggish, you're not performing at your highest level because you got that terrible fuel in the tank. All right, so it makes sense that a structured nutrition plan would improve recovery, right? Improve recovery time and reduce injuries. So when you are in those fast food situations, all you can do is make the right choices, right? You know, if you have to pull up to Wendy's, you have your burgers, you have your shakes, you have these options. What about a salad with some grilled chicken in it? Not perfect, but it's better than crushing a triple with cheese and everything else on it. It's gonna sit in your stomach, right? And not provide the necessary fuel for you to perform at a high level, right? Go with the salads, right? If you have to go into a convenience store, what's easily going to happen, or in the college when you're driving around in buses, you can either get donuts, popcorn, all that crap, or you can say, you know what, I see this bag over here, some nuts, some peanuts, got some peanuts in there, got some fruit, a trail mix. Let me go with that. All right, not not the perfect meal, right? Because it's probably got something. If you look at the ingredients, it's probably not pretty, but that's still better than choice A over here: Krispy Kreme donuts, chips, popcorn, all that crap that's over there that's guaranteed to slow you down and not help you to perform at your highest level. All right. So, what do we have next? Teach a simple meal planning Teach simple meal planning now. Yes, learn how to plan your meals. The good thing about this for your athletes, there are so many resources today. I'm going to look these athletes up that I see on Instagram and drop them in the comments for hopefully this sometime this week. I just can't recall any of their names right now. But we have to, they do great jobs of telling you the type of proteins. They say avoid excuse me, proteins or yes, meats that are high in fat. You want to get lean protein. You always want to get the cleanest meat that you can get. So they recommend organic meat, without the hormones and all the crap they put in that, right? So it's guys out there that are giving you pointers from the collegiate athlete perspective, right? So you guys can look that up on your own, but I'll do that myself. Um, and there's tons of apps that can help you out these days. There's tons of resources. You just have to put in the work and track some of them down, and I'll do that myself with a couple of resources. But you need to teach these simple meal planning skills now. Carb, protein, veggie, every meal, right? Protein, carb, and one veggie at every meal, all right? That has to become a habit, all right? Carry water bottles and recovery snacks to protein bars, fruit to practices and games, right? You have to provide your fuel in certain situations, all right? Even in, the big D1 scenario, you still have to get to the facility to get the top notch supplements that they already have there in the top notch food. So you want to have these carbs and everything already in your system. Walk around with the fruit, walk around with the water, like they're saying. A sports drink, a good sports drink. That's the preparation. That's keeping that fuel that fuel efficient and helping you perform at your highest level. All right. Now, the thing that is not overlooked, um, I don't think high school athletes know they're going to have to lift, but I don't think they understand the volume that's coming at them. That they're going to have to be prepared for. All right. So weight training and physical preparation, strength work isn't just extra; it's essential. Yes, it is. The strength and conditioning department at your athlete school or your school is going to be the foundation of your career. When you're in the off season, you're barely going to see your head coach or your football or your sport coaches, but you're going to be your best friend or worst enemy, depends how you address it, is going to be that strength coach. All right, you want to spend your whole off season with them, and it doesn't go away when the season starts either. You're still going to be in there. The philosophy changes, right? You go from a lot of volume off season to less volume, more intensity in season. But the bottom line is you're still there. You have to prioritize playing and performing over the performance training, right? So that's how that works, but they're still there. And you have to understand the structure that's going to come your way. And like I said, the volume that's going to come your way and the intensity that's going to come your way. And you're expected to get in that room, to show up in that weight room. Yes, you have to learn that program, but you're expected to learn that program, boom, and get results. All right, gain the weight that you need to gain, or gain, drop the speed that you need to drop. Improve your speed. The better the more familiar you are with the weight room, the smoother that transition will be. All right. So college strength programs are designed to minimize injuries, improve speed, power, and endurance, and build durable college-ready athletes mentally and physically. Athletes who strengthen athletes who strength train regularly are 58% less likely to suffer non-contact injuries. And that's not rocket science at all. That's why the UGAs of the world, the UVAs of the world, spend millions of dollars on their strength conditioning program. That right there, 58% less likely to suffer a non-contact injury. All right, so start a smart movement focused program. Get yourself a strength coach. Boom, right here. Strengthen your glutes, your core, your shoulders, and hamstrings. Yes, you have to strengthen all these things, right? Um, your glutes, that's your power right there. That's your power, period. Your core is your transition. You transition the force from the ground through the core to the upper body. You have to have a strong core. Your shoulders, we have throwing athletes out there, right? And even if you're not a throwing athlete, you still have to protect those shoulders. And I give you an example. I think his name was Trey Johnson. Some of you guys might know him. He was a tackle for the Redskins. And he had to retire early, not because of his low back, not because of his, I don't know, his knees, not because of his ankles, whatever the case may be, because of his shoulders. He neglected his rotator cuffs his entire career. He literally had to leave the NFL early. And he was younger. He had to leave the NFL early because his shoulders were blown out, had nothing left. All right. So the glutes, the core, shoulders, hamstrings. We hear about hamstring injuries all the time. So I'm not going to dive into that. We know how we need to protect our hamstrings. Um, Emphasize you got to be mobile. You know, Mobility is huge. You need to move through the full range of motion for running, for throwing, for all aspects. You need to be able to do that. All right. So focus on proper form over max weight. All right, not rocket science again. If you've been in there, you've been in a weight room, you understand this. All right, you're focusing on proper form over max weight, especially in that scenario. Don't be the guy that's walking into a weight room, or the young lady walking into a weight room looking like they're stepping on another planet, having no clue what to do. Sloppy bench press form, sloppy dumbbell press, sloppy squat. Go in there with the good form so you know what you're doing, all right? That will instantly put you in a leadership position, all right, amongst the younger athletes, all right? So, mobility, focus on proper form. We talked about that. Build a foundation, not just muscles, of course, The movements you're going to do be at that level are going to be designed specifically to translate to the field the best that they can. In general, the weight room, the performance center is designed to take a V6 engine and turn it into a V8 engine. So on that field, you can perform at your highest level. Yes, you want to mimic the movements as much as possible, but that stuff is not going to directly, for the most part, it's not going to directly translate to what's happening on the field. All right. What's going to translate is taking that V6, turning it into a V8, and increasing your capabilities, your capacities on the field. All right. So, and my favorite part that's most likely slept on by many athletes, parents, and even coaches: mindset and mental toughness. All right. This is the real separator at the college level. 100%. The mind is the separator at the college level. All right. College athletes face competition for playing time, right? Coaching pressure, academic deadlines, Homesickness and distraction, all these things are coming at these guys 100 miles an hour. How do you deal with it, right? If you're not mentally strong. If they're not mentally tough, they're going to get overwhelmed fast. About stat time, about 30% of the 30% of first-year NCAA athletes report serious mental stress affecting their performance. I was talking to one of my senior athletes the other day when they were talking about one of their teammates that had committed to a big time SEC school. And this individual, they're already talking, setting themselves up for failure. They're saying like, well, I go out there, I'm committed, I'll play, and if it's just too hard, I'm going to quit. You pretty much already quit. You're pretty much setting yourself up for failure, right? When your self talk is coming from that perspective, you are setting yourself up for failure 100%. All right, that's not the mindset that is that's not a successful mindset. All right, so let's see. Here's a couple tips. Start building mental habits now. That goes back to the sled situation, right? Like I mentioned, that sled situation. Come in here, I'm gonna snatch that soul. Load up the sled. You're gonna deal with it for a half an hour, 45 minutes. You figure it out, because you have to figure out things when you get to college, right? So figure it out now. Visualization before practice games. Slow things down mentally so you can speed things up in the field. Visualization is huge. Affirmations, confident building, positive self talk. Super huge. You see it at all levels. Affirm that I am an outstanding collegiate athlete. I am. Always start with the I am, right? Never say you want to speak in the now, speak in the present. That's what your subconscious understands. All right. You want things that happen now, speak that into existence at that time. Don't say I will be a top college athlete. No, you are a top college athlete. All right. Mindfulness or breath work under pressure. Yes. What does that do? That brings you back to the now. During the call last night, that came up. Mindfulness. A lot of guys, the new guys that just joined the program, some of them are ahead of the program because they know to breathe already, but they didn't know why. I gave them the why. The reason you breathing because you're bringing yourself back to the present time. The reason you're anxious or beating yourself up, anxious, I say this all the time. Anxious, you're thinking about the future. Beating yourself up, you're thinking about the past. All right. So, mindfulness or breath work under pressure, journaling, reflection after games and practices. Journaling is super important because it helps you to assess and let go. All right? You assess how the day went, you assess what went well, you assess what could have been better, write the solution down, write what I need to work on the next day, flush it, let it go. All right? That's why journaling is important. Mental reps are as important as physical reps 1000%. Travel life and adaptability. Travel is huge at college, period. That's the one thing that's not going to change whether you're at big time SEC school or a small, D3, D2 school. You still have to travel. Obviously, you're going to travel in different ways, but you still have to travel, right? So, travel is a huge adjustment in college sports. Between flights, buses, hotel rooms, and missed classes, athletes need to stay disciplined. Stay disciplined, stay focused, even without structure around them. You have to maintain the structure, all right? Pack nutrition, hydration, and recovery tools. Yes, leading yourself. I'm gonna talk about that a little later. Hope I don't forget about that. Adjust sleep schedules. Yes, for early games and road trips, you have to adjust your sleep schedule. All right, you're gonna get ideally 8 in, even more as an athlete, right? But if that's a problem, get that 6 in and make it a good sleep. All right. When I say make it a good sleep, add the good, create a good sleeping environment. Dark lights, maybe some background white noise. Understand what relaxes you. Read beforehand. Get yourself in that relaxed or alpha state of mind, that alpha brainwave, to help cool things down and slide into sleep and get to that REM sleep where you can recover. All right. Let's see. Another tip: practice all this stuff right now. Practice travel discipline now. Right. Visualize that. Practice that. So when you get to the season, it's not a problem because you've already done it. Prep travel bags ahead of time. Yes. Build a basic travel routine. Yes. Stretch, hydrate, prep, mindset, all that stuff. Right. Elite athletes thrive by adaptation, by adapting quickly, not making excuses. Yes, I'm going to say that again. Elite athletes thrive by adapting quickly and not making excuses. All right? But that's about preparation. Elite athletes are prepared mentally and physically for whatever is going to take place on the field. Right? Preparation and discipline and locked in focus. That is what's going to take you to that next level. All right? So give me a one in the comments if you found value from this Facebook Live. All right. Do you feel that you, as an athlete or a parent of an athlete or a coach, can drop this knowledge that I just gave you on your athletes and affect them in a positive way in which they can feel that much more prepared when they head off to college in their college athletic career? All right. We always have to have two actionable activities, two things you can do now. If you were paying attention, I think you might have an idea of what I'm going to talk about here. All right. So, a weekly athlete planner. All right. Have your athlete build a college week right now. Right. We talked about through this whole live. Build the college week right now. Plan your practices, your classes, mock classes, your meals, your study, and recovery. Start practicing all that right now. Stick to it for a week. Stick to it for a week, all right? Develop that discipline, develop that focus, and develop that confidence. Because you know if you did it during the off season at home, you can do the same thing. I got a call coming in. Hold on. You can do the same thing once school starts. All right. So that's it with that. Actual activity number one, weekly athletic planner. Number two, game day performance checklist. A game day performance checklist. You can definitely do this right now because some of you guys will be playing. I'm saying baseball right now. That's my background. Some of you college athletes are going to be playing in college leagues. Some of you guys are young enough to still play, maybe play one more year travel. Some of you guys are going to be those here in Atlanta, the Sun Belt League. I think it's called the Sun Belt League. That's the college league. Before every practicing game, 5-minute visualization, 3 strong affirmations, hydration and quick snacks, and calm breathing exercises. All right. Verify the remaining expenses for Wells Fargo. Okay. So that's it. Game two. Sorry, I got distracted with the text. Activity two, game day performance checklist. Before every practice, everything I said, I'll go over it again. Before every practice or game, 5-minute visualization, 3 strong affirmations, hydration and quick snack, calm breathing exercises. All right. So that is it, folks. That is it. What's this do? It creates consistency and mental readiness that college athletes all need. That's what it's doing. All right. So, parents and athletes preparing for college sports is about daily discipline and not hype. All right, you signed, you committed, had all that fun with your friends. Now it's time to get to work mentally and physically. All right. So, if your athlete can master their habits before they step on campus, they'll not only survive, they'll lead, compete, and thrive. I'm glad that was brought up, so I'm not going to forget my point. The things you're doing now is putting your athlete in position to be a leader. Because why? The first thing about leadership is number one, you have to lead yourself before you lead others. Lead yourself before you lead others. Everything that I mentioned today is putting you in a position to lead yourself. So when you get to that campus, you'll eventually be leading others. All right. So keep building, stay disciplined. The college dream is real if you prepare the right way. All right. So do me one more favor. Drop me that fire if you found this. Oh, I'm doubling up. All right. I can't do that. So I'm just going to end it right here. You guys have a great rest of the day. You guys have a great upcoming week. And remember, if you find value, drop that one in the comments. I will see you guys here in the group. I'll see you on Facebook. Some of you I'll see at the facility. I am out.